Whoa, stop. There you go. Don't worry, I'll saw it.
Hi. Hi. Do you know Luton Kaplan? Yes. Yes. Yes, right.
Please join me. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And whoever is responsible for this weather, thank you very much. It is, we should all get together. It is great to see all of you here this Shabbat to spend it with us. We're at the point in the summer where there are just a few outdoor Shabbats left, but this is the time during the summer where the sun has gone down enough at the beginning of the service so that the cantor and I can actually see you and not be like this. Tonight is a very special date on our calendar, not just because it's the Sabbath, but because it's also an evening of celebration for Sinai's softball team. Can I just say that was really wanting. Sinai's softball team. Thank you. Well done. When Moses was at the top of Mount Sinai, after having spent quite a time getting to the top, amid thunder and lightning and a pyrotechnic light show suitable for God, everything got very quiet just before God began to speak. And God started to give the words of the Torah. God began in the big inning. At which point, Moses knew what was going to be God's favorite sport. Okay, I promise I won't say it next year. We're going to welcome Shabbat, as we do with Kabbalat Shabbat, a series of songs and psalms before we start the formal body of the service. If you would join us on page 138 for Lecha Dodi, in the first, second, fifth, and ninth stanza. And when we get to the ninth stanza, you can join us in rising and facing towards the staircase down which the symbolic Sabbath bride will be arriving.
Lecha Dodi lekrat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad yishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad Shemo tiferet v'leila Lecha Dodi מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם משוכה, סוף הסבב נפשה בתחילה, וחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה, וחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, כי העורך אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלי תקרא, וחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה, וחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה. Please rise. Oh, you shalom, עטרת קלה, גם בשמחה ושום עולה, תוכן עולה הסגולה, לא יכלה, לא יכלה, לחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה, לחלוני לקראת קלה, בני שבת מקבלה.
We continue on page 144. We're still standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, the Reader's Kaddish, and let's follow the cantor.
יתגדל מקדש שמי רבה, וילמד ברכלותם ימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם עולם ימיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ופער ותרומם להינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, ושפחתה ונחמתה, לאמירן בגאולה ואמרו Amen.
Page 146.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. ברכו את אדוני במבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך מאוד הפועל.
Back 2,000 years ago, the Israelites, actually the Hebrews at the time, actually the Jews at the time, or really only the tribe of Judah that was left, was forced into a bit of a quandary. They had entered exile, sent there by the Romans, and everything they knew about how to connect with God through the temple in Jerusalem was unavailable to them. And they had to really think in an innovative fashion, what could they do to try to connect with God? Well, they came up with the prayer service that we're praying now. But initially, it was just a structure. There was the Barhu, the call to worship we just sang, which in the morning and evening always is followed by a prayer thanking God for the beauty of nature and so on. The only thing that was that everybody agreed on was the very last line of the prayers. Blessed are you, Adonai, who causes the evening to fall, for example. We happen to be in such a beautiful place here right now. I thought we might try what they did back then, which was to improvise a little bit ourselves. To look around at this gorgeous view, this beautiful setting, and compose your own prayer in your heart. And then at the very end, we will join together with the final closing blessing on page 148 at the bottom.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי, וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרביב.
We can all say together, Amen. A blessing thanking God for the gift of Torah is on page 150. Please join me. Everlasting God, you offered your people Israel
By teaching us Torah and mitzvot,
laws and precepts.
Therefore, Adonai our God,
When we lie down and when we rise up,
we will meditate on your laws and your commandments
forever.
We rejoice in your Torah forever. Day
Day
and night
we will reflect on them,
for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Bring praise to
Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 172.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. And we continue on page 154 with the chanting of the V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Please join me at the top of 157. Standing on the parched shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehtar b'kodesh, norat eilot osef ele, norat eilot osef ele, ba'alechutecha ra'u v'anecha, okei yayim mipnei Moshe u'Miriam, tzeianu ve'yamru Adonai yimloch le'olam ha'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam ha'ed. V'ne'emar kifar Adonai et Yaakov, galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Just join me at the top of 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporez sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162.
Ve'shaviru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Beni ben bnei Yisrael, oti leolam leolam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat
On page 164, we rise and continue with the Amidah, the central portion of our prayers.
Adonai sevatai tiftach uvi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'gibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula libnei bneihem, Le'man Shemo ve'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, v'chayei hakol atah rav le'hoshia, morit atah. Mechalkel chayim v'chesed, v'chayei hakol v'rachamim rabim, somech nochlim v'rofeh cholim, u'makir asurim, u'mekayem emunato l'shenei afar, michamocha bal geburot, ומתום אלך, דרך אימית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, נאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי הכל. אתה קדוש בשמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. And let's continue at the top of page 173, and then we'll continue on the next two odd numbered pages, 75 and 77, and we'll conclude on page 178 with the singing of Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth.
May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ever-present one,
May we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayers. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, who alone we serve and reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadecha b'yirah na'avod.
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life,
Wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho hashalom. Atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה ישמעו פניך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai, havarech et amo Yisrael v'shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai. You bless your people Israel, and God willing, all people everywhere with peace. We continue our prayers for peace silently.
ratzon imrefi, Iyul ratzon imrefi, Legion libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri lekoani. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you. Oh God, my rock and my redeemer. Ose shalom imromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, ve'imru, Amen.
Our prayer for healing, the Shberach for healing, is on page 371 in the pamphlet. We think especially this Shabbat of all those who are still held hostage in Gaza, all of those who have been wounded in war there and also in Ukraine and every battlefield around the world. Lucy Adams, Yudit Bat Sarachaya, Sarah Bat Bessi Veben, Devorah Bat Masha Yocha V'Chanoch, Melech, Rivka Fegi Bat Phyllis, Rachel Bat Yehudit, Emily Baer, Marjorie Becker, Bonnie Chait, Kevin Boland, Yosef Carrasco, Vivian Cohn, Katie Peltz Davis, Eve Eisman, Pamela Finberg, Roz Flegel, Mike Flegel, Leonore Friedman, Susie Garrison, Marianne Gehrig, David Goldenholz, Ruth Goldman, Russ Hearn, Robin Holmes, Jennifer Houston, Michelle Jacoby, Pat Kester, Rory Langlois, Jim McDermott, and Karen McDermott, Kathy Manchero, Don Metzke, Bob Ratke, Nancy Ron, Lucy Ramirez, Larry Rector, Marion Resnick, David and Ann Roger, Bill Ross, Martha Ross, Michael Ross, and Sally Ross, Stella Schneider, Jennifer Peerless Sechting, Gary Siegel, Herb Selden, Jeannie Silver, Seema Silverman, Michael Stillman, Martin Strauss, Will Thompson, Deidre Tischberg, Ted Tausman, Vito Valente, Kenneth Wexler, Judith Wise, Dan Ruderman, and Amy Hassel. If you're aware of others who could use our blessing for healing, I would ask you to hold them close to your heart as together we pray.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu ekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let
pinnacle of our softball Shabbat is a ritual that I think has no comparison or equal in the entire world of softball or baseball. It is the Sermon on the Mound. And it is our pleasure to invite Mike Weinshell, currently still fulfilling evidently a court order in serving as the coach of our team. And those who have heard him know what he does. He somehow finds a way to combine news about this past season with the Torah portion. And I defy you to find too many people that could do that.
Thank you. That was a challenging introduction to live up to. I thought about running up here, and I thought, no, I don't want to trip in front of everybody. So, well, first of all, welcome everybody. I think it's almost a full house or a sellout if we're talking about like sporting events. I see obviously a lot of members. I see some guests. I see some new members or prospective members. So welcome to everybody. Hopefully we'll live up to our description of being warm and welcoming. So if you're new here and a bunch of people haven't already talked to you, maybe during dinner in between bites, they'll do that. The Parsha for this weekend or this Shabbat is Akev. And if my research is correct, it means obey. From the book of Deuteronomy. First of all, good Shabbos to everybody. This event is sponsored by the Sinai Brotherhood, and a lot of the guys here are in the Brotherhood, and some of the guys here are on the softball team too. You don't have to be in the Brotherhood to be on the softball team, but it's encouraged, and I think most of our guys are in the Brotherhood. As David mentioned, I'm Mike Weinshell. I am the manager of the softball team, and I've followed a number of luminaries in the sports world, in the Jewish sports world, especially like Andy Mushin and Mark Cartman. And it's customary for the manager to deliver the Sermon on the Mound. I've been doing this now for, I think it's about 5 years, not really keeping count, but it's one of the many great joys of being the manager. And another one is making sure that we have enough players for every game. It's a little bit like herding cats. I think a couple weeks ago when I missed a game and we had a couple of co-managers to fill in, I think they can attest to the fact that it's not easy to make sure you have enough guys. One of the other things that I do is I communicate with Jen so that she can make sure that we get the correct dates and times and field locations out in the e-news, because we have this legion of fans here that likes to follow us, and if we don't get the right info to Toots, God have no wrath like that. Thankfully, in preparation for this, I was given some direction by various people, family members, the rabbi. The rabbi said, keep it brief, so if it's okay, I'm done. My son Eli said I should try to be funnier than I was last year. He also told me to practice in front of a mirror, but when I did that, there was a really scary guy looking back at me. My wife Jill said that last year I paused too much. I don't really know what she was talking about. So she said, don't pause so much. Each year, the challenge for me to do this is relating the Torah portion to softball. And it's usually a very tenuous connection. So don't, put too much stock in that, but it doesn't get any easier, even though I've done this for a few years. But as usual, I enlist the help of an expert, and that's Rabbi Google. As I mentioned, the Parsha is called Ekev. It's from the book of Deuteronomy. Essentially, I'm going to give you the abridged version. It begins by saying that God would say, if you obey the rules, God will honor the covenant made with your fathers, referring to the Jews getting to the promised land 40 years after their exile from Egypt. It spells out many things that God will do for the Israelites if they follow the commandments, things like having plentiful harvests, healthy livestock, and lots of children. It also indicates that God will help them eliminate any opposition they have when they get to the promised land, essentially helping them to take care of their enemies. The Jews are told to remember their long and difficult journey from Egypt to Israel, which was a way for God to test them with all the hardships to learn what was in their hearts. God wanted them to remember that despite the hardships, they were provided with whatever they needed to survive. And the Israelites are also reminded not to worship other gods, to love and serve only the eternal God with all their heart and soul. It's noteworthy that the words of the V'ahavta are in this parsha. Impress my words upon your heart, bind them as a sign upon your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Teach them to your children, reciting them when you're at home and when you're away, when you lie down and when you rise up. We said that a few minutes ago. Another interesting note about one of the directives that's mentioned is that it says to cut away the thickening of your hearts and stiffen your necks no more. So you wonder what that means exactly. And if you look this up on Rabbi Google, you will find numerous commentaries from experts. And interestingly, it's described as a circumcision of the heart. God wanted our ancestors to be open-hearted and to love their neighbors as they love themselves. So how does this all relate to softball? Our players, individually and as a team, go through hardships, both on the field and off. On the field, we struggle through hitting slumps, fielding errors, sometimes injuries. And as a team, there may be a losing streak, although thankfully ours are usually only a game or two long. For quite a few years, we finished in the top 2 or 3 teams. This year we were number 4 out of 11, and we were 1 victory away, basically 1 run away from being in third place. I think that in the same spirit of love thy neighbor, we get along well as a team because we like and respect each other. We support and encourage each other and understand that when one of us makes an error, it's not the reason that we may lose the game. We've all made errors, and usually there are numerous factors that contribute to a loss or a win. Either way, we can go out after the game to enjoy a hamburger, beer with our teammates, and often our families too. If you could see us at our usual hangout, the Brick, you probably have a hard time figuring out if we won or lost the game. We played hard and we won, and those are the most important things. Before we eat, and I know most of you are here for the food, I would like to thank, first of all, our Brotherhood and Brotherhood associated crew of grill masters and volunteers. Joe Glassman, Bob Scogstill, Ted Lukács, Steve Stahl, Eli Weinshell, not officially a Brotherhood member, but good helper. Ari Friedman, Michael Hool, Gordy, and Jenny Goldbaum. Did I miss anybody? Just looking out. Anybody raise your hand if I missed you?
Carlton helped us.
Oh, Jesse Carlton helped carry hot dogs down from the
I
kitchen.
cooked him too.
Oh, and he cooked them. He cooked them.
No raw.
Yeah, you said that.
He's one of us.
If you know how things work at most congregations, you know that none of these events can take place without a really awesome bunch of volunteers, many of whom show up time after time, event after event to help. So thank you to everybody. Lastly, I'd like to promote part of our son's bar mitzvah project, which is it started in April with his bar mitzvah, and it's to raise funds and awareness for the Alzheimer's Association. This is in honor of his grandpa Leo. There are some walks coming up, and Eli has the details, so if you'd like to join us on one of these walks, please see Eli. Lastly, enjoy dinner. Hopefully we have enough food, and thanks to everybody for coming. Shabbat shalom.
Mike, thank you. Truth be told, I did say keep it brief, but you were so brief that you have 4 minutes you can roll over to next year. So we'll allow that to be the case. We are going to conclude the service first with the Alenu, which you can find on the page of the pamphlet that has the number 586 at the bottom. And then the Mourner's Kaddish. We'll have a few short announcements. We'll light the candles, say Kiddush, and Motzi. And at that point, Jen will tell us what we're going to do. No? Ramona, or she's going to do it as part of the announcements. Okay. For now, please rise and join us in facing east for the Alenu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
On page 598 of the Siddur. We think especially today of members of our congregation who have passed away this year, but who have members of our congregation saying Kaddish for them. Herb Bratt, Bill Nikud, Dick Kahn, Stan Jolton, Robin Glickstein, Bob Lieb, Allie Kravitz, Marcia Fenson, Nancy Osterman, David Hestad, Gary Sobel, Chip Alberts, Hank Borkovitz, Jonathan Frank, Stan Aronoff, Dick Kuhn, Yehuda Yanai, Bill Fox, Marcia Reese, Maxine Cohn, Dr. Joseph Bear Marcus, Ron Sinclair, Margot Hirsch, and Jim Stillman. And the following, whose yahrzeit or yearly anniversary of death falls this week: Rosalie Altschul, Jay Aronoff, Zachary Aronoff, Helen Blesser, Bernard Borkovitz, Aaron Boxer, Rose Bradbury, Joanne Fox, William Heller Jr., Carolyn Hoffman, Rose Hoffman, James Karlowitz, Doris Kliegman, Joan Levine, J. Marshall Lieberman, Joseph Lubar, Gladys Matovich, Roland Meissner, Ronald Hadway, Kurt Hartenheimer, Edgar Newman Pincus, Dolan Lustig Rab, Marilyn Rose, Henry Rosenberg, Isidore Sedlet, Marilyn Simon, Saul Simon, Ben Stein, Goldine Strauss, Louis Temkin, Yetta Yuso, and Sam Waspring. If there's anyone here, in addition, those who fell this week in defense of the state of Israel, Ori Ashkenazi Nehemiah, Shochat Ben Nun, Yotam Yitzchak Peled, Mordechai Yosef Ben Shoam, Eli Elisha Lucas. If there's anyone who is mourning the recent death of a friend or a loved one, or observing the Artside anniversary of a loved one whose name I either didn't mention or inadvertently mispronounced, I would ask you please to share the names aloud with us so that we can join together as a community of support.
Clara Arden, Dr. Francis Wolf, Regina Reisel Ross, Roth, Alan Benjamin.
We continue together with the Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויאמר דברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיא. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיים, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
May the source of peace who makes peace in the highest heavens enable us to learn how to make peace here on earth. Enable us to maintain hope in the face of many challenges. And may God share with those in mourning a measure of consolation and comfort. And together we say, please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. It is so beautiful, not just the weather, but to look out and see all of your amazing faces. And it's so, I was up at the top and I was like, it's standing room only. This is wonderful. Love it. We're so grateful for the contributions made this week to our Sinai community in memory of Jay Arnoff, Zachary Arnoff, Dick Kahn, James Karolowski, Lowitz, I'm sorry, Karolowitz, J. Marshall Lieberman, Joseph Lubar, Foster Padway, Marilyn Rose, Marilyn Simon, Saul Simon, Goldine Strauss, and Ethel Fate. If I mispronounce, please forgive me and please come to me and teach me how to say it right. Hopefully, tonight you all got a chance to try out use our new name badge system to get your name from our badge catalog. We're all wearing, and we should all be wearing your names so that we can get to know each other better. And I really encourage you, there's a lot of new faces here today, so please reach out to everyone. Give them a warm Sinai welcome. This is a wonderfully beautiful, embracive community. So just share your love tonight. Just a reminder that when you leave the place tonight, you can go back to the card catalog and return your badge to the drawer that and under the first letter of your last name. They don't have to be alphabetized after that. That's fine. Join us for the following upcoming programs. We have a lot happening on Sunday, September 8th. A Hainu, Sunday, September 8th at 8:30 a.m. at Sinai. Back to School Cereal Breakfast, Sunday, September 8th at 9:30 a.m. Parent Coffee at 10 a.m. Itsy Bitsy Sinai at 10:15 a.m. Please refer to the Tuesday and Friday e-news for the latest Sinai programming, registration, information, live stream, and Zoom links. Thank you to our brotherhood for this amazing barbecue that we're about to enjoy. In the back, you may have, when you walked in, saw some beautiful baked goods. Please pass that wonderful table in the back. There is a fundraising taking place for the high holidays, and there's information on how to get your high holiday lovely cake. So as always, please return your service books to the bins at the back. Kiddush may be found at the beginning of the barbecue buffet. And for those able, please take your chair and help us to move to the round tables right over there on the grass for dinner. And we begin to lose our light around 8 p.m. Not the lights of our hearts, but the light in the sky. When we're finished with dinner, we would appreciate your help in emptying your trash, and for those who are able, assist with moving chairs to the chair rack that's back there, and anyone who can assist also with breaking down tables. That was a lot. Thank you for sitting through that. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you.
The blessing for Shabbat candles is on page 120 of the pamphlet. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ha'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
The Kiddush is found on page 123. Please join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei beri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshenu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon itchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereishit, ki hu yom tefila l'mikrei kodesh, zecher l'yetziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amin, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, inchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, v'kadesh ha'shabbat.
Please join us in the Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And find somebody you don't know here tonight and introduce yourselves to them.